Once upon a time, in the 19th century, a religious movement started to blame alcohol. A few years later, the state of Maine passed the first state prohibition law and the Prohibition Party was established in 1869. Then, social reformers support them and claimed that alcohol was the source of many social problems like poverty, criminality, industrial accidents, and the breakup of family. Finally, between the 1920 and 1933, described by American President Herbert Hoover as a great social and economic experiment, alcohol consumption became illegal in the US. But, thanks to this crisis, speakeasy bars were created as well as delicious cocktails, who are still alive nowadays. Let's talk about some of them. So, in this short video, you're gonna have a quick explanation about how the US Prohibition started. Then you're gonna see the history of bee's knees cocktail. And at the end, you're gonna see the history of the Ward 8 cocktail.
The bee's knees cocktail is a gin, lemon, and honey that emerged during the Prohibition era in America. Invented by Frank Meyer, an Austrian-born Portuguese bartender who was the first head bartender at the Ritz in Paris back in the year 1921, when Café Parisien opened its door. The phrase bee's knees was a Prohibition-era slang for the best. During that time, the addition of ingredients such as citrus and honey were often used to cover the less-than-ideal smell and taste of the bathtub gin, which was often the case with drinks served during the Prohibition. What makes it more special is honey wasn't much of a fixture in the cocktail world at that time, but it provides warm, floral undertones that aren't present in sugar, and it will create a complex maze of flavor when placed into a simple drink. While for the lemon, it creates a more appetizing and sweet concoction. The sweetness of bee's knees cocktail certainly added to its appeal. This speakeasy favorite is a simple way to fancy up any gin. Honey syrup and lemon juice are sure to transport you back to the days of Flappers, Hip Flask, and the Charleston.
The Ward 8 is a cocktail originating in 1898 in Boston. The story goes that the drink was created to honor Martin Lomesny elections.
There are several variations of the Ward 8 cocktail. One of the most recipes are with rye whiskey, lemon juice, orange juice, grenadine, and maraschino cherry as optional. Shake all ingredients with ice in a cocktail shaker and strain it into a chilled cocktail glass. This was a popular Prohibition cocktail because of how the grenadine masked the alcohol. It's not a drink you are going to write home about, since it's essentially just a variation of the whiskey sour.
Prohibition lasted for 13 years, from 1920 to 1933, and in this period of time, people invented all kinds of methods to drink alcohol even though it was illegal. The rise of speakeasy, new cocktails which are mentioned above, Flappers and Jays perfectly proved the fail of the Prohibition. Besides, since a large number of bartenders lost jobs at that time, they moved to big bars in Paris, London, and Cuba. As a result, the Prohibition indirectly led to the reinvention of the cocktail market in Europe. Ultimately, the Prohibition is a policy failure and short-lived social experiment.